I'm now calling on the Comrade Jacob Mamabulo, our Provincial Secretary, to give us a welcoming address on behalf of the province and the PEC. Comrade Pierce.
Amanda! Amanda! Viva the fighting spirit of Joe Slovo! Viva!
Viva!
Viva the fighting spirit of Comrade Joe Slovo! Viva!
Viva!
Amanda! Viva SACP! Viva!
Viva!
Viva ANC! Viva!
Viva!
Viva COSATU! Viva!
Viva!
Viva Sanko! Viva!
Viva!
Viva the Young Communist League of South Africa! Viva!
Viva!
Amanda! Amanda! Thank you very much, Comrade John Peace, our provincial chairperson. Let me also, comrades, just thank Comrade Tudas, who is co-chairing and directing the program together with Comrade John Peace. Comrades, on behalf of our entire PEC and the membership of the SACP in Gauteng province, I am once more deeply honored and very much pleased to extend our compliments, our Happy New Year. Firstly, comrades, to our most beloved General Secretary, Dr. Late Nzimande. I must also greet him, of course, as the Minister responsible for matters of higher education, science and technology. And GS, special word of welcome to you. We are very much pleased that you are in the province, and of course we hope that you're feeling comfortable, you're feeling at home. Comrades, we are also joined by our first Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Solima Paida Minashuru. As I always say that in China they would have called him a young leader, still very young. And of course, we are very much pleased to have you in our midst. And let me end it there, Minashuru. I normally tend to say a lot of things when I welcome you. Today I'll leave it here. But I know that the province hears what I'm saying. Comrades, we are really pleased that in this 27th anniversary commemorating the life of Comrade Joe Slovo, we are joined by the sister of Comrade Joe, the daughter, the daughter, my notes are not, thank you very much for the correction. Comrade Sean Slovo. Let's put our hands together and welcome Comrade Sean. Would like just to wave to the comrades. Yeah. So. Thank you very much, comrades, for that fraternal welcome to Comrade Sean. We are very much pleased to have you amongst us. Thank you very much and welcome. Comrades, we have with us the National Secretary of the Young Communist League of South Africa, Comrade Tinyiko Ntini, who's going to speak to us. We would like to welcome the entire leadership of the Young Communist League of South Africa. Let me also just say that we are also joined by several members of the Central Committee. They are here amongst us, and of course we will continue to acknowledge them as they come. Comrade Jenny Schreiner is here. She leads the Central Committee deployees to our province, and would want to take this opportunity, Comrade Jenny, to always appreciate and thank you for providing leadership and guidance to our PC at all times. And sincere thanks to you on behalf of the PC and of course the entire Central Committee deployees in our province. We have Comrade Lichisa, I've seen him. We have Comrade Franz Baleni, I've seen him here as well. And I'm sure I have not left out any other member of the Central Committee. If there's any comrade who has arrived, we will definitely acknowledge and welcome them in the course of the program. I must also proceed, comrades, to welcome and acknowledge our allies, our alliance partners. Very important alliance partners that we have always worked with in pursuing the cause of the National Democratic Revolution. The African National Congress is led by Comrade Parks Tau, who is the provincial treasurer of the African National Congress. Comrade Parks is sitting right there. We welcome you, Comrade Parks, and we must also thank you for coming. And you'll remember, comrades, that it was when Comrade Parks was the mayor of the city of Joburg that Joe Slovo was honored by the city. And we want to thank you, Comrade Parks, and acknowledge the leadership that you have played in making sure that the city of Johannesburg bestow honors and recognition on Comrade Joe Slovo. We must thank you for that. Thank you very much. Well done. Comrades, we have, and of course to all leaders of the ANC that are here, we want to acknowledge and appreciate your presence. We have with us, comrade, our class ally, COSATU, the mighty revolutionary trade union, the Federation of the Workers. COSATU is led here by comrades who are here. We have in our midst the Deputy General Secretary of SACP, Comrade Mdu, who is part of the delegation of the leadership of COSATU that is here. I must also say Comrade Mdu has served in our Provincial Executive Committee at some point. So he was a member of our PSC. We would like to acknowledge him. Part of the leadership of COSATU include Comrade Aubrey, who is leading the Communication Workers Union. Comrade Aubrey, we have worked with him as well when he was still leading CW in the province. Comrade Aubrey, a revolutionary word of welcome to you. We have with us, comrades, we have the second Deputy President of Nehau, Comrade Pat. He is here with us, and we must also, if my facts are right, he is still fresh from the box, elected recently at the Congress of Nehau. We must congratulate him and welcome him to this very important site where the remains of Comrade Joe Slovo are. Comrades, we have with us the leader of COSATU in the province. Comrade Amos Munyela is here with us. We want to acknowledge and welcome him. And Comrade Amos is always in every party event. Every invitation we extend to COSATU, he always comes. And today I want to acknowledge this at the gravesite where Comrade Slovo is. As we celebrate Slovo's life, Comrade Amos, we appreciate the working relationship we have with COSATU and your effort, tirelessly always being amongst us. We are very much pleased. Comrades, that should, there are leaders that are coming in. They will be acknowledged by the National Deputy Chair and Comrade Joe as we proceed. But at this time, allow me to acknowledge the Linda Chabali district, which is where we are, led by Comrade Africa, our district secretary, and of course the entire DEC, all members of the ANC, SACP, SANCO, all the PYA, all the leaks. But most importantly, comrades, we want to take this opportunity to also extend a word of welcome to the media houses that are here. We say Happy New Year to the media. And this reminds me that Comrade Alex is here, a member of the Central Committee, Dr. Alex Mashi. Comrade Alex, to you and the media, special greetings. And we hope the media is feeling welcome and feeling at home. Otherwise, if there's anything we can do to make you more comfortable, we will do so. That, comrades, should conclude acknowledging the guests, and once more, if there's any comrade we have not acknowledged, the acknowledgements will run up until the end of the program. Comrades, let us take this opportunity as a province to just say we are very much pleased that once more, 2022, we are able to gather here to remember Comrade Joe Slovo. As you know, during the difficulties of COVID-19, when we were in the hard lockdown, it has not been possible to come to the gravesite, but you'll recall that we were on the gravesite virtually. So we have never failed to celebrate the life of Joe Slovo, of Commander Joe Slovo, our General Secretary, even under very difficult conditions. So to all of you comrades who made it here, took your time, came here, and of course, as we said, under very strict conditions of COVID-19, you are most welcome. We have tried to make sure that we uphold the protocols of COVID-19. We do have sanitizer. We will once more spread it again, make sure that we give it to comrades to sanitize. We also appreciate the fact that comrades are wearing masks. That is very much important. And we have GS made sure that we significantly reduce the number so that we do not break any rule or place comrades' lives at risk. That is why this year we have really cut the number to make sure that we do not place any comrade's life at risk. Please, comrades, let us sanitize as much as we can. Let us make sure that we are safe. With those words, comrades, we just want to say, yes, the party has celebrated its 100 years. We continue with that celebration. We must thank you for leading the party to its centenary. And of course, we still having a united party under your leadership. We must never tire to thank you for maintaining the unity of the party, even under difficult conditions, General Secretary. We must never take our unity very lightly. Our unity is very much important. And I want to say to the GS, we are very much pleased as a province that we are contributing to the unity of the party under your leadership. And it is this unity that helps the SACP to continue to play its role in our country in pursuance of the National Democratic Revolution. With those words, comrades, we want to say we're looking forward to a much more united party as we begin yet another journey to the next centenary of the Communist Party. Comrade Chair, let me hand over back to you. But otherwise, comrades, let us sing a revolutionary song to celebrate the life of Commander Joe Slovo, to celebrate the life of the militant, the life of our...
Thanks, Nobala. Amandla. Thank you, comrades. We're trying to manage time. Sizotola comrade will give you time to sing. Comrades, we also want to acknowledge the ambassador of Palestine and Comrade Hanan Sarah. Welcome, comrades. We also want to welcome our second Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Chris, who has just arrived. Welcome, Comrade DGS. Comrade, without a waste of time, we are targeting 12 o'clock, comrade, and we want to appeal to all the speakers who are going to give us a message of support to look at their time as well. Without a waste of time, comrades, we want to call on stage Comrade Sean Slovo, the daughter of Comrade Joe Slovo, to give us a message of support and acknowledge the contribution made by Comrade Joe Slovo. On behalf of the family, Comrade Sean, please come forward to give us a message from the family. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Must I put a stamp, please? Sorry.
Huh?
Yeah, so that you don't. No, it doesn't. You can continue.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for asking me to come and say a few words today. It is a great honor. Thank you, all the comrades, because I don't know any of you or the day. So thank you very much. I have recently returned to live in South Africa after 57 years in the UK, which is where we as a family were granted political asylum in 1964. Even after so many years away, it feels like coming home.
I'll hold it for you.
Oh,
You said you must start it
from the
It's very
beginning.
important, comrade, just that she start again so that you can
okay,
hear.
here I
Maybe you
go.
can take off your mask.
Okay. Okay, is that better? Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. It's a great honor. I've recently returned to live in South Africa after 57 years in the UK, which is where we, the Slovo first family, were granted political asylum in 1964. Even after so many years, it feels like coming home, because being here brings me closer to Joe and to Ruth, because I feel their legacy and their spirit everywhere. Before he died, Joe gave me 3 pieces of advice for how to live a life. Number 1, never get into debt. Pay off what you owe every month. Very easy for him to say. Yeah. Very easy for him to say. I'm not sure he even had a bank account or owned a credit card until he got a job as the minister. Number 2, never take out life insurance. It's a complete rip-off, and I have no idea where that came from. Number 3, most important, learn to make a great salad dressing. Oil, vinegar, mustard, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to mix the salad with your hands, not with spoons, serving spoons or forks. You have to mix it with your hands so that every piece of lettuce is covered in dressing. So anyway, he says that will carry you through the culinary life, and he really wasn't wrong about that. These things, although they may sound frivolous, give a picture of who Joe was. He was never interested in personal or material gain. A life of big houses and fat bank accounts and flashy cars and jobs for the boys and girls was never the life for him. He was against any form of corruption or nepotism. He wouldn't even arrange tickets for the Mandela concert because he didn't want to be seen to be dispensing special favors to his children. For Joe, the struggle was his life. His personal principles were a perfect match of his politics. He was overall a happy man, as the choices he made fulfilled his soul and his sense of self. He was also always an optimist. Even in the darkest days of apartheid, he was confident that the collective would win and that the change would come. And we, his daughters, myself and my sisters Gillian and Robin, know that if he were alive today, he would look at the imperfections of his beloved country and see them for what they are, things to be struggled with and transformed to ensure a world of justice and equality. Thanks.
Do you mind sharing that with us so that you can put it in the archive?
Yes, we are going to hand over this to you as the message from the daughter of Comrade Joe Slovo. Comrade, thank you, Comrade Sean. We appreciate the message from the family. Without a waste of time, comrades, we are now going to call the YCL National Secretary, Comrade Tinikontini, to come forward and give us the message from the YCL National Committee. Asimchani ngekwit. YCL. Mwana man. Nifukile mjani. Hechara.
Yo.
Okay, no. Yeah, no, you must remove it. Thanks.
Yo, YCL.
Mandla. Long live Kosas, long live. Long live Sasko, long live. Long live Kosat Young Workers, long live. Chigitelo Fasimba Chigitela. Long live Sanko, long live. Long live Kosatu, long live. Long live the SACP, long live. Long live the NC, long live. Mandla. No thanks, program directors, the provincial chair of the party in Gauteng, Comrade Joe, our national deputy chairperson, Comrade Tulas. Let us greet the general sec of our party, Comrade Blade, the officials of the party, the entire central committee members here today, our national office bearers of the YCL, in absentia, our national committee members that are present today here, the leadership of our Revolutionary Alliance present today, the ambassador of Somaliland, the ambassador of Palestine present here with us. Indeed, today we are here to celebrate the life and times of an internationalist, a theoretician, leadership par excellence. We have less words to can express or define the character of Comrade Joe Slovo. Indeed, today we are humbled that as we stand here to celebrate the life and times of this gallant fighter of our revolution, we note that 2022 marks not only the end of celebrations of the party's centenary, but marks a historic moment to the life of the YCL itself, as it's its centenary year this year. And we remain inspired by the character of what Comrade Joe Slovo stood for. Probably to take this time deliberately to acknowledge Comrade Sean after acknowledging all the speakers, because of this powerful message that she has just delivered here, which I think just sums it up in terms of who Comrade Joe Slovo was. And the biggest question I think today we need to ask, based on the message that the family has delivered, is that as a movement, are we still capable to produce such caliber of cadres that are selfless, that are ready to advance working class interest without any expectation of material gains? As a movement in 2012, we resolved on two critical things that we need today even to remind ourselves and assess how far have we gone with that. When we were at the 12th National Congress of the party, we spoke of a need for a more radical phase of the transition in making sure that we are able to address the inequalities and challenges that continue to persist in our economic structure. When we were in Mangaung in the National Conference of the ANC, we resolved on a decade of a cadre. And I think as part of celebrating the life and times of Comrade Joe Slovo, and as we continue indeed to commemorate and celebrate the centenary of the YCL, we need to ask ourselves those critical questions. How far are we? Have we indeed, in the past 10 years as a movement, been able to produce any kind of a cadre that today we can still be able to equate when we reflect the life and times of Comrade Joe Slovo? And I think all of us, honestly, we know what is the answer. Because today, the movement is faced with serious challenges, and it speaks of the failure indeed for us to be able to take forward some of these critical resolutions that we took in making sure that we continue to be a beacon of hope in the society, but even internally, we are still able to produce a caliber of the cadreship that is able to defend, deepen, and advance the national democratic revolution. And as we are here today, we are just still bleeding wounds coming out of the local government elections, where indeed we have dismally performed as the Liberation Alliance. And we've been able to make some analysis, we've been able to see what were the factors that contributed to such performance. And the message is simple and clear. When you take all those, it means business can never be as usual. Things has to change. And if then we're not able to change and address some of these challenges that we're faced with, that could have contributed to such dismal performance, then we must as ready prepare ourselves to donate all the hard-fought gains since the democratic dispensation and those that we have done in advancing the national democratic revolution. It's very much important, comrades, as today we stand here to celebrate the life and times of this great gallant fighter of the liberation struggle, an internationalist by note, a theoretician, to remind ourselves the need to go back to prioritize political education in our structures, to be able to fight against the demons of factionalism, the undermining of the organizational discipline and party line, and making sure that we close ranks and we renew our organizations in making sure that they are able indeed, not only through lip service, to advance that in the next centenary program, we are able to transform the life of the people. We continue as the vanguard party to be relevant to the masses of our people. Because the critical questions that we must ask is that, does the people still see us as a beacon of hope, as the Liberation Alliance? For the fact that they can take a posture to punish us by just abstaining even from participating on the electoral post, it means something is wrong with us, and we need to diagnose and be ready to heal and address those issues. As we celebrate the life and times of Comrade Joe Slovo, it's important indeed to reflect on our annual program that as the YCL we use to celebrate the life and times of this gallant fighter, which is the Joe Slovo Right to Learn campaign, and which the 2022 campaign, our focus is that is the year of branch activism, and we need to continue to fight for student services and towards free and quality compulsory education. And this will assist us to address some of the persisting challenges that continue to be seen in the post-schooling education. And in conclusion, comrades, it will be very wrong of us not to reflect a bit on the international space, because we celebrate the life and times of an internationalist. And as the YCL, we must state it very clear that we stand by the people's struggles in Swaziland as they continue to fight against the tyrant monarch. And it's important again to highlight that we don't have confidence with the proposed dialogue that is set to undertake, because it's clear that this is premeditated. Ours is to see the unbanning of political parties, is to see the return of exiles to that country even before the dialogue could start. Because who are you going to engage with if the real revolutionaries are seeking political asylum in different countries? So which dialogue are you going to have? And this is part and parcel of saying we remain in solidarity with the people of Palestine as they continue to be subjugated by the apartheid Israel that continues to kill innocent children and women. And that must be the same to the people of Somaliland, that will be side by side with them and all other oppressed nations, even within the Latin America. Amandla! Mandla! Long live the untamed spirit of Joe Slovo, long live!
Long live.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Comrade Secretary. Thank you very much. Amandla! Phansi corruption, phansi! Phansi corruption, phansi! Thank you very much, Comrade Ntini. Indeed, your message resonates very well, Comrade, with the message we've given earlier by Comrade Sean, that Joe Slovo will be surprised today that we have lost 3 metros in Gauteng. Joe Slovo would have been amazed that as a revolutionary alliance we could not protect the democracy he fought for many years. With that, comrade, we also want to ridicule comrades those comrades who continue as if we haven't lost our metros in this province, who continue to celebrate and have factional caucuses around the province so that we can then lose the province in 2024. We'll expose them as the party, we'll expose them as the YCL, and we will defend, comrades, this hard-fought democracy and remove all those comrades that are not adding value to the life of this alliance. Comrades, we are not wasting time. We are now going to call on comrades, the provincial chairperson of COSATU, a comrade that worked very close with ourselves in the province, Comrade Amos Munyela, to come and give us a message of support from the workers. Comrade Amos, over to you.
Aya Jesalom Sabalas, Govatina Zobaba, Govatina Zobaba, Govatina Zobaba, 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 Aya Jesalom Sabalas, Govatina Zobaba.
Mandla! Mandla! Long live Joe Slovo, long live! Long live Joe Slovo, long live! Viva SACP, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva Ufasimba, viva! Itamala Makosi, Kazi! Malibongwe! Thank you very much, program directors, the chairperson of the party in the province, the deputy chairperson of the party, the national deputy chairperson of the party, Comrade Tulas, central committee members present here today, CEC members of COSATU present here today, as well as PEC members of COSATU, the general secretary of the party present here today. As the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, we join millions of South Africans and progressives around the world to commemorate the 27th anniversary of the passing away of the former General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, Comrade Joe Slovo. On this day, 27 years ago, parted one of our country's foremost revolutionary thinkers who had led from the front in the fight to dismantle the evil apartheid regime. It was Comrade Slovo's steady and reliable leadership and exemplary conduct that made him the cherished and appreciated revolutionary that he still is. He still has a lot to offer us as we grapple with the current state of our nation and trying to formulate a response to the current challenges we are facing as the nation. And I think the YCL made mention of the catastrophe with the local government election, where the working class in general has given the Revolutionary Alliance a middle finger. He was a true soldier and a theoretician who never succumbed to the trappings of his position. I think Comrade Sean made mention of this point. He never shied away from acknowledging and confronting the failing and inadequacies of either the revolution or revolutionaries. He did more than most in helping to lay a foundation for a socialist future in South Africa with his insightful political analysis and revolutionary conduct. I want to quote Comrade Slovo in his one of his writing, The South African Working Class and the National Democratic Revolution. His starting point was quoting the Constitution of the South African Communist Party in 1994 that declares that its aim is to lead the working class towards the strategic goal of establishing a socialist republic and more
and more immediate aim of winning the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution, which is inseparably linked to it. The Constitution describes the main content of the National Democratic Revolution as the national liberation of the African people in particular and the black people in general, the destruction of the economic and political power of the racist ruling class, and the establishment of one united state of the people's power in which the working class will be dominant force and which will move uninterruptedly towards social emancipation and the total abolishing of exploitation of man by a man. And the question that we should ask ourselves, where are we today? What Joe Slovo fought for today, the working class, where they are today, they are confronted by the challenges which Joe Slovo taught us that we need to fight for these challenges. Today, the working class, where they are sitting in areas where there is no service delivered. They are pushed to ghettos where there is no service delivered. And I think that message, that what Joe Slovo said in 1988 is befitting, that the party, the reliable party that we know, should advance that struggle in order for a total emancipation of the working class. This commemoration arrives at a time when the country is amid a deeply seated and multiple crises of capitalism that has the nation languishing in the longest ever economic slump that began in 2009. While COVID-19 has exacerbated this crisis, we need to acknowledge that this is structural crisis that affect all dimensions of life, with its manifestation in the economy, energy, climate, food, water, finance. It is the most demonstration of the historic failure of the capitalist mode of production. The capitalist system has not just created record unemployment, but it drives an accumulation strategy that has led to attacks on the working class, including massive cuts in wages to increase profit. I mean, in the period under review, comrades will know, even our own government has turned against the working class. It has turned against the workers. We have seen government that has butchered collective bargaining in this country. So therefore, the Communist Party is sitting at the rightful position to work side by side with the workers, work side by side with the working class to change the status quo in this country, because we believe as workers that we are still struggling for what we've been struggling for, what Comrade Joe Slovo struggled for during the time he was with us in this world. And we think the party is the only organization amongst all the organizations that can liberate the working class. We are pleased as the Federation that the party has taken a resolution, and a firm resolution, to build a left popular front to confront the challenges that the working class is facing. I'm going towards conclusion, Chair. In respect of your time, the state has responded to this depressing situation and gloomy economic reality by carrying out social downsizing and austerity attacks that have included generalized cuts in social budget, including in health and education. I know General Secretary of the party, as deployed in the Department of Higher Education and Training, you are struggling just to make sure that NSFAS is enough to accommodate the working class. It's because of austerity measures. So in the revolution, we are told that when we are in a revolution, we are revolting against a system. And what is that system? That system, it's neoliberalism, it's capitalism. So if the system that we are struggling against, that we are revolting against, it is still perpetuated by the government of the day. So therefore, it is befitting for the party to therefore go to building a left popular front. And comrades, as you resolve on the left popular front, don't think that this is a lip service. We will ask you time and again, how far are we with the building of the left popular front? Because we think that is the answer to the problems that we are facing in the country, and the party is at a position that it can lead us in that struggle. As we work to develop a comprehensive program for 2022 a busy political year, we need to focus on two main priorities that will make it easier for the working class to survive this epoch and ultimately prevail. Workers need to build a strong vanguard party of the working class and pay close attention to the theory of Marxist-Leninism to rebuild class consciousness. The Federation has committed itself to ensuring that the working class relationship between itself and the SACP is strengthened. The SACP of Joe Slovo, both independently and through its hegemonic role in influencing mass formation, and the ANC itself, has undeniably earned itself the mantle of vanguard party of the working class. In conclusion, let's honor Joe Slovo by lifting and imitating his honest personal qualities and build a strong party of the working class that we will be proud of. Amandla! Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. But you have said a mouthful, Comrade Chair. Thank you very much. Viva Kosatu, viva! Tina the working class, Tina! Ngena SACP, ngena! Shange. Mabanga Slali. Comrades, let's call on the ANC comrades. And I think this deployment is a correct one, General Secretary. Because Comrade Parks played a very important role in ensuring that Joe Slovo is honored by the city of Johannesburg. So today's deployment is correct. We want you, Comrade Parks, to come and speak and give us a message from the PEC of the ANC in Gauteng and tell us how we have lost these 3 metros in our province. Comrade Parks.
Amandla! Amandla! Long live the Revolutionary Alliance, long live.
Long live.
Comrades, I'm very conscious of the time. I have a prepared speech and Comrade Joe has given me an additional mandate. I will, cognizant of the time, not read out the entire speech. I'll share the rest with the leadership of the province. But the National Deputy Chair indicated that we have serious time limitations. Let me acknowledge the General Secretary of the Communist Party and the entire leadership of the Communist Party and indeed the leadership of the Alliance. From the Gauteng Provincial ANC, we send New Year's greetings and best wishes to all of you on this 27th commemoration of the life and legacy of Comrade Joe Slovo. We memorialize and celebrate legitimately Comrade Slovo Isitwalandwe Siaparankwe as a revolutionary thinker and a pragmatist by excellence who contributed in the drafting of the Freedom Charter and was one of the early combatants of Umkhonto weSizwe. We are also here to join in solidarity the SACP as it observes its 100-year centenary, begun in July 2021 and continuing to July 2022. These 100 years are indeed 100 years of unbroken struggle to realize both socialism in South Africa and the National Democratic Society, which are mutually reinforcing. Comrades and friends, as the ANC in the province, we support firmly the SACP's call for all progressive forces to spearhead and prioritize people over profit. This is an achievable goal which finds practical expression in both the 1955 Freedom Charter and the Constitution of the Republic. More than at any time in recent history, this call for privileged people, or rather for privileging people over profits, has been underlined by the global health and economic pandemic called COVID-19. Therefore, when governments across the world from diverse ideological orientations speak of building back better during the COVID-19 new normal, it talks about building back pandemic-proof health and economic infrastructure and disaster-ready institutions. Dear comrades, in commemorating the SACP centenary and Comrade Slovo, it is about stating without fear that the tripartite alliance has always been centered and converging on appreciation of revolutionary nationalism as articulated presciently in the 1969 Morogoro Strategy and Tactics, and I quote, "Our nationalism must not be confused with chauvinism or the classical drive by an elitist group amongst the oppressed people to gain ascendancy so that they can replace the oppressor in the exploitation of the masses. To allow the existing economic forces to retain their interest intact is to feed the root of racial and class supremacy and does not represent even the shadow of liberation," close quote. The life and legacy of Comrade Slovo is rightly commemorated since it offers several other lessons. Without doubt, Comrade Slovo is remembered today for reminding us about the economic liberation work that is still outstanding. In his example, we recall someone who was a moral compass, who lived by and upholded principles of prioritizing the national welfare instead of personal interest. He personified selflessness and a high public service work ethic, which, as you would all agree, affirmed the correctness of his revolutionary selfhood. It is another reason he approximated praxis of theory and practice in life and in deed. As we reflect on the lessons learned from the 2021 local government elections and the recommendations flowing from the 2022 State Capture Report, this is another occasion to ask fundamental questions as we prepare strategically for the forthcoming National Policy Conference and the National Elective Conference of the ANC. Of course, we should ask ourselves on these existential questions for the movement guided by the strategy and tactics. These are the questions which should trouble and inconvenience us. Is there a significant change in the balance of forces? If so, what are the strategic decisions we need to adopt to reposition the progressive movement? Are the motive forces amenable to be turned around into our favor for all those sectors of society demoralized and disengaged with the direction of our movement? Are the progressive forces suitably armed with relevant policies and programs to prevent the movement from further splinter and factions? Is the broad democratic movement continuing to be part of the broad mobilization forces towards building and realizing the national democratic society? These questions are posed because when there are fractures within the alliance, inarguably, no revolutionary program can be implemented and monitored for its impact and transforming positively the economic status quo. As indicated earlier, I will shorten the speech, but thought I should end by asking those critical questions as we go into this year of National Policy Conference and of the National Conference of the ANC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Pax. Yeah, uzongiphendula later. Hopefully, in the caucus of the legislature, you'll unpack why we lost the 3 metros. Comrades, I'm now going to hand over now to the National Deputy Chair to take over the second session of our program. Comrade Chulas. On check with Comrade Itwani Kornala. Viva Tswane, viva! Viva Tswane, viva! Yeah, all three.
Uphethe umhlaba ayedwa umhlaba wonke
National treasure.
sabantu akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba ngayedwa wayesaba amaphuzu ongiwa sebefuna ukusetshenzela abantu wayesaba amaphuzu ongiwa sebefuna amandla. Long live the spirit of Comrade Joe Slovo. Long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Ruth First. Long live. Amandla. Comrades, we've come now to the main item of the day. We are going to request unobhala uComrade Usoli, the first Deputy General Secretary, ukuthi azosithulela le ndoda kuthiwa iyakwadambuza, izokusitshela ukuthi isiphatheleni namhlanje. Kodwa ke before angena unobhala, Comrade Parks, lo nyaka uzawusinda kakhulu. Lama congresses mathathu, siya kuma congresses amathathu this year. Nama provinces aya kuma congresses, nama region. Kuzodependa ke ukuthi kwenzekani kulama congresses nama conferences wonke, whether lelizwe silithatha silisa phambili or silibuyisele emuva. It's a very important issue we have raised, but just to remind you that all of us in the alliance were having a very big challenge this year. Ubaske sabuya ke nama factions, sabuya ke nama factions nango 2024, sibe sesinikezela ke kubongqiwa, sinikezele ke nabo EFF nabo bonke. It's up to us. uComrade Joyce ukhona lapha phakathi kwethu. Manje ke awuthi nginikeze ke kunobhala akathula omnye unobhala. Over to you, Comrade Soli. Bamba Comrade uzayisho makezwe unzimane.
Amandla, Matla, all power. Thank you very much, Comrade National Deputy Chair, Comrade Tulas Ngesi. There's too much rain, which is a great blessing, as Comrade John Pisi said, in the field of Comrade Joe Slovo Nopala. In Umkanto Sizwe, we said, there's no rain in the army, there's army in the rain, the people's army. So you must enjoy the rain. Rain is welcome anytime, whatever the occasion. So my task is to give you the presenter of our main message, a man who's well known amongst the working class of our country. The working class of our country have declared him the doctor of the workers, because he has represented the party very well in articulating the conditions of the working class in our country, and he has never failed in doing so. He rose through the liberation movement, joined the Communist Party, recruited specially by one of our young intellectuals and a dominant figure in the theory of our party, Comrade Mzala Nxumalo, into the party.
and he never looked back. And he served through that recruitment our movement in many ways, particularly in education. Even during the period of underground, when he was mandated to set up the education institutions to support transformation of our education system from apartheid education into people's education. Today he continues to make major contributions in education in our country. This is perhaps one major issue that has not been properly recognized by South Africa. But we acknowledge that, Nzimande, for your contribution. I read one book by one former Vice Chancellor of University of Johannesburg, Habib. He raises this point, but only when he's no longer Vice Chancellor. So we appreciate that. Of course, our General Secretary also served in the National Executive Committee of the ANC. And here he will represent the SACP as General Secretary to give our main message on this 27th anniversary of the passing on of Comrade Joe Slovo. We give you, Comrade, the boy from Dambuza, General Secretary Blade Nzimande. There's a special cap you are wearing, no This cap.
Oh, yes. Yes, no, thank you very much. We need to keep this letter short. Who's going to do that? Who is Alex? Oh, yeah. You're very smart. You. Cheers. At least 7 days, man, then alcohol. Just spray this and they're around, yeah. It's destroying my hands. Yes. Look how I am. Yes. Okay. Amanda! Amanda! Viva SACP, viva! Viva! Acknowledgement. Outside. There's a paper. No, let's not show Alex. Amanda! Long live the memory of Comrade Joe Slovo, long live. Long live. Long live the memory of Comrade Chrisani, long live. Long live. Amanda! Viva the African National Congress, viva! Viva! Viva the SACP, viva! Viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Viva! Vuga Sanko, vuga! Viva the YCL Ufasimba, viva! Pants in the capitalism, pants, eh? Forward to socialism, forward. Put people before profit. Put people before profit. Amanda! Oh, the slide is. Okay. You're right. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's okay.
Can it trend again?
It's gonna come out of here.
It's gonna come out of
here.
It is blocking your face.
Is it? If I look on the side, it's gonna be a problem. Okay. I put it on the side.
No, it's fine. Yes, it's fine. Is it fine? Is it fine? No, it's fine.
Amanda! Comrades, let me start by greeting our program directors, our National Deputy Chairperson, Comrade Tulas Ngesi, and Comrade Joe Slovo, the Provincial Chairperson of the SACP in Gauteng. Let me start by greeting our first Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Solima Paila, the National Office Bearers of the SACP who are here, and all our members of the Central Committee. Let me also greet our host Provincial Secretary, Comrade Jacob Mamabulu. Jagobe wethu lo wa SACP hayi wasebhayibhelini. Nice phila naye la eGauteng. Nobhala, I want to say thank you very much to you and Comrade Joe and your PEC and your districts and your branches for always hosting now for the 27th time commemoration of Comrade Joe Slovo. I'm saying this because without you doing this, the country would possibly would have forgotten about this hero. Ngabe selikhohlakele leli qhawe, siyabonga kakhulu makomrade. Sishayeleni kakhulu izandla. That's not enough. Siyabonga nobhala. Let me also greet Comrade Joe Slovo, one of the dear daughters of Comrade JS, as we used to call him, and Comrade Ruth First. We are really very honored, Comrade Sean, for taking time aside to come and represent the family here. We are a very special family to us. We want to say that, and you are more than welcome. Tell the rest of the family we really appreciate your presence here today. Let me greet Comrade Pakstow, representing the African National Congress, our former Johannesburg mayor. I'll say, Kumbula lensuku zakho Comrade Pax. Who say mayor, man? Yo, Masegunje, we really miss you. I must say that. Comrade Amos, representing the COSATU. Thank you very much. We acknowledge you for your message. Our honored Palestinian ambassador, Comrade Hassan Sarah, and the Palestinian and your delegation, this is your home away from home here in the South African Communist Party. You are most welcome, and other members of the diplomatic corps that I might not have been aware of, they are also welcome. Let's also welcome the members of the media. Thanks for being here. Most importantly, let me welcome all of you comrades who have taken the trouble on this rainy day to be here to come and commemorate Comrade Slovo. We are gathered here like we do every year in memory of Comrade JS, the commander of Umkhonto weSizwe, the joint ANC and SACP Liberation Army, the leader of the SACP, the ANC, a workers' shop steward sometime earlier in his life, a revolutionary, an author, a thinker of note, and a father. To the special three girls that we knew that they were very important to him, much as he was working all over the place. Comrade Joe Slovo joined the National Union of Distributive Workers as a young worker after he left school in 1941. A year later, in 1942, he joined the Communist Party. This was 6 years before the racist National Party came to power and established an apartheid regime. The British and white capitalists of South Africa were all interested in one thing at that time, was the national oppression of the majority so that they become super exploitable. Ongo, abamhlophe base-Britain nabase-South Africa ngesikhathi so-1940s na before babe nento eyodwa ukuthi nje akucindezelwe abantu abamnyama ukuze babe yigqila ezizoyokumba idayimane negolide ukuzongxiwa badle kahle, babe zigqila le proletariat esikhuluma ngayo. The colonial and apartheid regimes were also built on the foundation of patriarchy and the oppression of women. Governor comrades, if they are terrible twins, it's capitalism and patriarchy. Those are twins, and terrible twins, they always go together. You can't fight one without the other. Ukucindezelwa kwabantu besifazane impilo nje yokungqiwa nkulu. Awukwazi ukulogodwa uye kokunye. Comrade Slovo was against fascism. As a result, during the Second World War, even these things, Comrade Nobala sold, esizibiza ngama World War. These were actually mostly wars amongst imperialist countries, but they call it a world war. Because man about Europe, they say it's a world war. Right? Ubabukwala used to say that. Particularly the First World War. Maybe you could say the Second World War, yes. But when the Soviet Union entered in the early 1940s, the war against fascism, Comrade Slovo was amongst those who took up the fight in defense of the Soviet Union and also in the fight against fascism. Wahamba wayempini wayolwa. When he came back after 1945, Comrade Slovo went and knocked at Wits University and trained as a lawyer. So he's a good example in many respects. Wayagolwa kodwa kangakhohlwa isikole, which is what we want today. With all of us ne-youth yakithi, don't forget indaba yesikole, sifuna nifunde. Ngoba nalento khohlwani ilento yokuthi, hayi, sizothola amathenda thina, sishaya ama-shortcut, sisheshe sibe nemali. Ithenda uyayithola namhlanje, kusasa uma ungasekho in the right faction, iyaphucwa, iyahamba. Imfundo yakho akekho oyoyithatha ngoba ayiyona ithenda. Nobody can take your education away from you. That's what also we must learn. Comrade Sean, over and above the salad, that's what we must learn also from Comrade Joe Slovo, that we must go and educate ourselves, use that opportunity. All of us. Comrade Joe Slovo was amongst those who participated towards the Congress of the People, the adoption of the Freedom Charter. Comrade Slovo contributed in the writing of the major documents of the SACP and the liberation movement. He was a great theoretician, but it would be a mistake to only call Comrade Joe Slovo a theoretician, because also Comrade Slovo embarked on practical revolutionary activity. Why ngagcini nje ngokubhala uComrade Slovo? Wayelwa futhi. Angithi sasisho njalo at some stage. You must fight and write at the same time. You must fight and write at the same time. Uyayizwa leyo nto? That was Comrade Joe Slovo. Because it's important also that we remind ourselves of this, because kukhona abantu who are saying the SACP must continue to develop the theory of the revolution. They are right. But we don't develop the theory of the revolution from a desk. We develop the theory of the revolution from the trenches. We learn from the struggle. You can't develop a theory if you are not in the struggle. You can't theorize if you are not in the struggle, because what are you theorizing about? So we have always been a party of both theory and practice. We are my comrades. I have to say this as we remember Comrade Slovo. If political education is gone in the structures of the movement, ayiseko, comrades. In order, Comrade Hope, to honor Comrade Slovo, we really need to rebuild political education structures and processes in our movement. If there is one main message, comrades, you find today many comrades, especially in our bigger organization, the ANC. We say this because it's true. Siyayithanda. uthola ukuthi comrade alazi lutho can't relate i-freedom charter and the current struggles now. But umauta kuyoliwa i-faction comrade Parks, the comrade is an expert. All he or she knows, it's normally men, is how to fight factional battles, but doesn't know how to organize for the ANC or the Communist Party. What kind of education is that? We have experts in fighting factional battles, but they can't build our organization. So, Comrade Joe, when you say boldly, we don't need those people. If we are to renew the ANC and reconfigure our alliance, we must get rid of those people whose specialization is factionalism at the expense of building our movement. We are where we are today because of that, if truth be told. Comrade Slovo continued to work after 1990, with the struggle to rebuild the SACP inside the country, to rebuild the ANC, participated in negotiations. In fact, at Codesa, he was the lead negotiator under Comrade Krisani for the SACP. I remember very well, we served in the same subcommittee, Codesa, group. Yeah, number 2, J02, is the one which collapsed the Codesa. Comrade Slovo was sitting there. Was an amazing person. You say, here is this commander of MK, but he was a suave negotiator. Managed to articulate the positions of the Communist Party. I was with him, we were the two deployed in these negotiations. We have to write this history, Nopal, so that also younger generations should know. Comrade Slovo, until his last day on the 6th of January 1995, he was still in the struggle. So it does deserve to be honored. And Comrade Slovo must continue to serve as an example. How do we honor someone like Comrade Joe Slovo? It's important that we come to Avalon every 6th of January, and we must continue to do so. But what do we do when we leave Avalon Cemetery? That's what is critical, comrades. Is that we must go out and fight for what the ANC slogan, by the way, always captures so nicely. There's no ANC slogan after 1994 that I like more like it. A better life for all. We can give it a Marxist-Leninist analysis and content. It's a beautiful slogan. A better life for all. Not for some. For all. That is one of the most wonderful slogans of the African National Congress. That's why we must go out of here, comrades, and fight for the things, basic things that change the lives of our people for the better. Water, sanitation, paved roads, phansi ngama potholes, phansi. Uyezwa ukubhala wethu? Phansi. Yes. Angu MEC wethu we-transport. But siyamthanda because he has had a campaign, led a campaign as the provincial secretary of the party to fill up potholes. Asiwafunda ama potholes. You know, these things, potholes are all over our country. And it's costing us just basic goodwill from our people. At home, in my respect, like everybody else, you go home during December. There are certain tires are not there, you wait, we have to wait. Because the tires are just being blown every day by these potholes. We must go and struggle, comrades, for these basic things that make life better. If we provide water, we actually liberate hundreds of thousands of rural women who still today must still go and fetch water from the rivers. There should be no school with pit toilets. These are basic things to honor Comrade Slovo that he fought for. Housing, he was the first Minister of Housing. Human settlements, we need to be pushing all this. We also need to be pushing, comrades, for what we call as the SACP public employment programs. Our cities and our townships are dirty and ngolile. I always tell people when I grew up as a young boy in Maritzburg, under apartheid, under difficult times, but when you were going to town, you used to wear smart and clean because we ate rupee, because it's a clean place. Now I'm more cleaner when I go to Dambuza than when I go to a Peter Maritzburg in my city, because Dambuza is better than the way some of our cities are looking. Now, it's very dirty. Why can't we employ people, as we have said, in source that work and have workers who permanently clean our cities as part of public employment programs? That is what we should be fighting for. There are so many things that needs to be done in our communities. The building of water infrastructure, electricity infrastructure, everything, even to clean our graves, that should be part of public works to create jobs for millions of our young people who actually do not have jobs. That is how we should be honoring our leaders, Joe Slovo. Comrades, we also have to defend. I want to come to this now. We also have to defend the gains we've made since 1994. Uyabona ke thina makomanisi kuye kuthiwe siyathakatha. Abangasifuna sithakathe sine analysis. We are able to analyze things. Uyabona lento eyenzekayo, comrade Lechisa. Today ngihlele eduze kwakho ngithi awu madoda, my deputy speaker is homeless today. Has no place, has no parliament. It's a very serious matter. We want to give the law enforcement agencies an opportunity to go very deep into this thing. But we have our own suspicions as the SACP that this thing of burning a parliament is not unconnected to the counter-revolution that was waged in July last year. It's not unconnected to that. On the day the acting Chief Justice gives a report on state capture to the president, someone is vandalizing the Constitutional Court. It's not an accident. We are suspicious that this thing is planned. Now we can't sit like this and relax. When we are seeing a counter-revolution coming, it's like seeing an oncoming train. In honor of Joe Slovo, let's unite as the alliance and all the progressive forces, comrades, to defend our revolution and go out to seek to unite the widest possible sections of South African society to defend our revolution. Asiphume siyomobilize abantu ukuvikela lokho esesikutholile okubalekile kusukela ngo1994. Noma ngabe sena inkinga zini, kodwa lokho esesikutholile kubalekile, we must defend it. Because there is no doubt that lo hulumeni we-ANC has done so many positive things, my comrades. When we were campaigning, we were just raising this thing. The child gets born today from a poor family, has a child grant. This child has got free health care until 5 years. You know who made the ANC? This child comes from a poor family, goes to a no-fee school until this child finishes matric. And after matric, this child wants to go to a TVET college or a university, is paid for by government through a fee bursary of NSFAS. Same child. If they are working hard, they actually realize a potential. That's just by one example of what this government has done. This ANC government can still do more, but mistakes have been made. Terrible mistakes. The fact that we don't control a single metro in Gauteng, comrades, it's something that today, as we honor Comrade Joe Slovo, we seriously need to reflect upon. What does this mean? What does it need? What needs to be done? Comrade Parks, I like the questions you are posing. They are the correct questions. I want to add to them. When we defeated the apartheid, Comrade Lech, who were really the forces that were in the forefront? It was the organized working class in the metros. They were the ones who were actually at the head. We are not saying there were no struggles in the rural areas or smaller towns, but the organized working class together with communities, organized communities, here in Gauteng, in Johannesburg, eSoweto, ePretoria. Khona munye wayezathi ama-comrades asePretoria wayengawafuni ngoba ayicula ukudlula abanye athi siyaya ePitoli ebesePitoli. But that was fine. It was high morale. But siyaya ePitoli, marching through ePitoli more than anybody else. It was in these metros. Today, as the ANC, we are losing the metros. What does that mean? Does it mean that is there something wrong happening with the working class in our major urban areas? Is there perhaps a tension now between the ANC and the urban working class? Ubudlelwane bakhongolose nabasebenzi bumi kanjani? Ucomrade Amos uyayiraise lento ukuthi abayithandi beyabasebenzi ukuthi lo government wethu didn't honor the 2018 agreement. It's last year. Could this have upset the urban working class or part of the urban working class, contributing to us losing our metros aid? I must say, comrades, that my own worry, having been home in my respect, like all of us, many of us were migrants. You go home during December. I find that some of our comrades are not learning the lessons. I think, Comrade Joe, you were saying this. They are still continuing to impose candidates as mayors. They are still continuing to act factionally. They are not learning the lessons like Comrade Joe Slovo, who knew that in conducting the armed struggle, if we have made the mistake here, how should we correct it? That's why Comrade Joe Slovo was commanding one of the most well-liked units. Even the headquarters of the Defense Force. If we can't reflect and accept, then there is something wrong. Then we are on a downward spiral. Some of our own comrades, if they are comrades, they are refusing to take and hear the voice of the people crying that this is no longer the ANC we know. Comrades, in 2000, year 2000, I'm told, what election was that? Local government. The ANC got 40% vote of all the registered voters. 40% of all the registered voters. This time around, the ANC got 14.5% of all the registered voters. From 40% to 14.5%. Of all the people who are registered to vote, only 14.5% voted for the ANC. It means, comrades, we have got huge and serious challenges that we actually have to confront. Now, there is this thing which we are all complaining about, factionalism. No, man, let's say analyze a little bit deeper this thing. The struggle against factionalism can't be a moralistic struggle. You know, comrades, what has happened now? As a Makomani's comrade Hope, we need to say things as they are. Factionalism is closely linked to control over resources. You got a faction in a region that controls the ANC often, and then controls the municipal budget in a particular municipality, which they chow. And what unites them as a faction is to chow that municipal budget. In other words, now, factionalism is deeply interlinked with corruption. We cannot fight factionalism without at the same time waging a struggle against corruption, both inside and outside our movement. It's not only the ANC. It's not only the ANC, by the way. Now, to then just plead against factionalism is not going to help us. We have to fight this. That is why, but what is even dangerous is that this factionalism now is beginning to involve in some places like Mamelodi gangsters. A case that it's involving inkabi. Now what we are beginning to see is an overlap between factionalist politics inside our movement and gangsters and criminality outside. That is what is beginning to develop. And if we allow this to continue, comrades, then our revolution is gone. Then our revolution is gone. We just have to understand that we actually have got a huge task. Our comrade Joe Slovo, as comrades were saying, Comrade Sean was telling us, even in the darkest days of apartheid, never lost hope. We also must not lose hope, and we must understand what the task is. To entangle and defeat factionalism is a much bigger battle today than we actually realize. They go and demand a certain percentage from projects, the construction. We want 30% here and there. If you don't give us as the person who has been given that, you are not going to be able to work here. Now let me tell a small story, another example. In NAFCOC, those who know NAFCOC, the organization of mainly black small business, requested a meeting with the officials of the SACP. When was that, Comrade Jane? 2 months, 3 months ago? 3 months, 2 months ago. You know, when they start the meeting, they say to us, we have a presentation. We know as the Communist Party, you have a lot we want to hear from you, but let's start with our presentation so that you respond to it. They say to us, you know, we are beginning to lose. We love this ANC. We love it. It's our organization. But we are beginning to lose hope in it and confidence in it. And one of the main things is that instead, in many places, instead of this ANC as local government, of helping us as small business to do better, some of the leaders of the ANC are competing with us. They are also in business. But they have an advantage because they control the ANC and they control the municipality. So they are now outbidding us, and we are struggling, we are going under. What is to be done? We love this African National Congress. We have come to you as the SACP. How can we work together to correct this? Now, if we are not careful, comrades, the movement as a whole, we are part of this. We are not talking about the ANC as outsiders. We are part of this movement. We are going to begin to lose the support of the urban working class, the professionals, and small business, and we are going to become a rural movement that does not have a base in the urban areas. ZANU-PF eZimbabwe. ZANU-PF is predominantly a rural organization. Now, we're not saying having support in rural is a problem. It's a very important base that we must work at and address, but we can't lose the metros and the major urban municipalities. So we have to learn lessons, comrades. Now, moving towards the end, I guess report kaZondo kancane.
Yes.
Let's talk about the report, layer state capture. But before we talk about it, let's remind people, the SACP was the first organization to expose and name state capture for what it is. It's our concept. Layer state capture. We are the first organization that saw and named this thing as such. We named it for what it is. And we were the first organization. I remember very well our first Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Usoli, was the first voice on behalf of the SACP calling for the establishment of a judicial commission of inquiry into state capture. That was us. We don't normally do this. We don't operate like that. But we must speak the truth now. That's why we welcome the report kaZondo. Of course, we would have liked to Zondo to give us all at once the complete report. Not a man to engathi le stories zaseradioweni okuthiwa ke isiqephu namhlanje bekuyini ke ngolwesibili oluzayo senozwe isiqephu esilandelayo abalaleli ukhozi. I'm sure no mhlobo wena usho njalo. It's the same thing. I'm sure nephalaphala lisho njalo uyabona. We would have liked this report kaZondo that it comes to us as one time, once and for all. Well, it hasn't, but we welcome it nevertheless that it's actually coming out. And we are going to respond to it as the SACP in our own right. Akekho umuntu ozositshela ukuthi no nina makomani sithulana ake nilinde lokhu. No, sizozikhulumela sombutho oyimele. Siyakwazi ke nokufunda samakomani sinaleyo advantage. We are able to read and analyze and interpret, and we will do it ourselves. Now, comrades, we don't want at this moment to go into detail of what the Zondo Commission is saying. We want to get the whole picture, the whole report, and then we respond. But there are certain things we want to say so long, nevertheless. That in tackling the corruption and state capture, we hope the recommendations of the Commission do not only focus on public officials in government and state-owned enterprises only. We are also calling that the Commission focuses on the private sector as well, including being prosecuted. There can be no justice and an end to state capture from selective prosecution. There must be consistency because state capture is a collaborative crime between unscrupulous elements in the public sector and the private sector. For instance, we heard from testimonies and the conclusions of the Commission how a US-based multinational company called Bain & Company was complicit in irregular arrangements from which it benefited. Now, because the company owns Ikhokha, no, abangagcini ngokukhokha ababoshwe, just like laba baku public service asithi ababoshwe nabo mababoshwe. KPMG and many other Western imperialist multinational banks and other financial institutions and Section A monopoly capital. You as the media, we are very pleased you are here today. We want to put a challenge to you. Don't only focus on government. Yes, we must focus on government officials, but we want to hear you also focusing on the thieves and the criminals in the private sector as well. We're going to be watching the Zondo report also from that angle. Because the struggle against corruption, comrades, is at the same time the struggle against profiteering and theft by the private sector from the public sector. This, at least for us as the SACP, is the essence then of the struggle to put people before profits. Put people before profits. Which is in line with our centenary theme. Socialism is the future, build it now, in putting people before profits. You know, we are very glad as the SACP, we have been consistent in our call not to tenderize the state. Don't turn the state into a tender. We have been chased because of that stance. Comrade Jacob, it was here. Now a comrade is shot. At this Joe Slovo commemoration that we said 1 year, there are rogue intelligence elements who are following leaders of the SACP. Because they were wanting to dig and manufacture dirt about us so that we stop raising these issues about state capture. We are not going to stop. We are not going to be intimidated. Instead, we want government to investigate those rogue intelligence elements. What were they doing so that we are able to deal with them once and for all? Bethi sizosho sinamanyala esiwaziyo ngabaholi be-SACP wakatambuza mina washona lawo manyala bese niyasho ukuthi niwathathephi niwathole kanjani. We are not going to be intimidated, comrades, as the South African Communist Party. In memory of Comrade Joe Slovo, no one is going to intimidate us. Instead, those people are going to account for using rogue intelligence agencies. We are not going to rest until we go to the bottom. Le mali eyantshontsho headquarters. Yes, state intelligence, state security. Yantshontsho ubani, iphi yasetshenziselwani, siyamakomanisi, sizowubuza lo mbizo siza siyithola i-answer. Ngisho Tsimande kuthiwa akasekho, akumina kuphela ngazi le information yaziwa yi-leadership ye-South African Communist Party as a whole. We owe this to Joe Slovo. Ubani oweba imali estate security yayaphi? Millions of amounts of money were stolen. Enye isetshenziswa ukujaha thina, ku-intimidate thina. Ngobani silwisa i-state capture? Ake singasekugcineni-ke ama-comrades. This year, 2022, it's a crucial year for our movement and our revolution. All our organizations are going into congresses. In July is the SACP, in September is COSATU, in December is the ANC. In 1 year. 1 year. Nama provinces, nama regions. That's why I'm saying, by the way, in some of the regions, there's no change. We are just not learning. Now, for us as the SACP, the year of congresses must be a year for consolidating and uniting the movement and analyzing the challenges we have, but most importantly, and come with solutions to those challenges. That is what this year is calling for. But our detractors are going to use this year to factionalize the movement further so that they can steal, to try and steal our structures so that they can actually further their accumulation agendas. We must commit in honor of Joe Slovo that we are not going to allow year 2022 to be used because it's a year of congresses to pursue things that are dividing our movement. The main message, let's use our congresses to address what is a priority in this country. What is a priority in this country now is jobs and sustainable livelihoods, and to create a better life for all. That's what our congresses, that's what our congresses are supposed to do, comrades. And also we need to unite ourselves. As the SACP, we are calling for the alliance to unite itself. Our message is clear as the SACP. State capture is theft, is no solution to the economic problems we face. But also neoliberalism is another form of theft. To enrich those who are rich is actually not going to help us. We don't want state capture. We don't want neoliberalism. We want economic policies whose foundation is our Freedom Charter in order to create a better life for all. And we must use these congresses to try and unite ourselves around this. Yabona-ke le ifuna ukushiwo ngesizulu. Hayi lo nyaka mubi. Njengoba kuphuma iCommission kaZondo nje hayi akuzuliwa ayikho. Iyinkantolo le commission khona bazoyisa ngoba bafuna ukuya emajele nayo yonke into bazobe benza into ongazazi. The-opposition is going to use the Zondo Commission to try and discredit the ANC for the next 2.5 years in the lead up to the 2024 elections. That's what the opposition is going to try and do. That is why it's important that we unite as the alliance to say we are not for state capture, we are not for neoliberalism. Those who have actually been involved in state capture must be dealt with. That is the main task, my comrades, as we go to our Congress. Siyajabula COSATU supports us in building a left popular front. We don't see a left popular front as an alternative to the ANC. Instead, we see it as something that can revitalize the ANC itself. The ANC, by the way, was built by people's struggles to become what it became by 1990. It was the community struggles in our townships, in our villages. It was the organized trade union movement. All those things actually contributed. The building of progressive civic movements. That's what built the African National Congress to be what it was and what it became. And the left popular front must actually aim, in our language as communists, to revitalize the motive forces of the national democratic revolution. That's what we are doing. But let me end, Guti, by saying this, comrades. As we remember Joe Slovo, let's unite SACP. Let's not allow foreign tendencies to begin to creep into the SACP like tribalism. We must just not allow that. If the SACP is divided because of narrow provincialism and narrow regionalism, who is going to be the vanguard of this revolution? And we must not tolerate factionalist tendencies in the SACP. Comrade Nobalu Soli, if they are factionalists in the SACP, we must kick them out of our organization. They just do not belong here. We must deal with them. Thina as a Communist Party, as men phansi. We are not afraid to go and start from zero and rebuild, rather than to have people who do not belong to the South African Communist Party. The unity of the party is sacrosanct. Foreign tendencies, workerism, anti-Congress sentiment does not belong to our party. If we are into that, not here where we are. Like UICL, we can't end without reiterating our support for the transition to democracy in Swaziland, our solidarity with the people of Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and the Sudan, who are trying to overcome their own challenges. Our solidarity also goes to the Palestinian people. Our late leader, Comrade Madiba, said it nicely. South Africa will never be fully free until the Palestinians are free to pursue their own path. That is why we will always be with the Palestinians against the apartheid Israeli regime. I know ke nina makomanisa amanye anifuni ukuyithinta indaba yesonto icawa. Asiyithinte le ndaba because there are people who are confused, who think that Israel is the same Israel as in the Bible. So we must pray and protect Israel because it's in the Bible. No, it's not the same Israel. The Bible is another Israel. It's apartheid Israel, which is oppressing and killing Palestinian people.
Yes.
So, communists are good in teaching anything. You must start even teaching religious studies now from a historical materialist perspective so that you understand what kind of Israel we are dealing with today. We reiterate our call for Israel to release Hisham Abu Hawash unconditionally with immediate effect from his unjust incarceration, as well as over 500 other Palestinians that are unjustly detained right now. A father of 5, Hisham Abu Hawash, who is 40, was detained by the apartheid Israeli regime under the injustice called administrative detention, has been on hunger strike for days. He is now at the risk of death or massive or permanent organ failure since he started his hunger strike on the 17th of August 2021, comrades. We mustn't forget this. The Palestinians call for the release of Nelson Mandela. We are also calling for the release of Hawash, who is unjustly detained by the Israeli regime. 1st of January, comrades, also marked the 63rd anniversary of the Cuban Revolution. We stand with the people of Cuba against the imperialist occupation of the Cuban territory of Guantanamo Bay, and we are calling for an end to the criminal, illegal blockade of Cuba by the United States. We also want to congratulate Gabriel Boric for his presidential election victory in Chile. It's very interesting. This president is 40 years, 35 years. Now youth esifunayo. Youth for socialism, not youth for tenders. That's the kind of a youth. Youth umayithi funa ikhundla embuthweni, sifuna le youth. Hayi lena ezongenela ukuthi idle yona amaphokoto. This is very important that we say that. So we congratulate this victory. And he is now going to be working in alliance with the Communist Party of Chile. So that's a progressive president. And the key task for Chile would be to maintain this unity so that they are able to roll back decades of neoliberal failures in Chile. We also express our solidarity with the Latin American people, including the people of Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and all other progressive forces. Comrades, South Africa shall never be free until we liberate its women from gender-based violence. South Africa shall never be fully free unless we liberate its women from patriarchy and gender-based violence. Ngeke my comrades, it's too much lento yokubulawa kwabantu besifazane. Sithi makwenziwe njani? Asikwazi ukuhlala sikondeme, express our condolences every day, but this thing just continues as if nothing has happened. That is one answer we need in honor of Comrade Joe Slovo. Just like we must go, comrades, and unite to defeat COVID-19. I know kunama-comrades angafuni ukuyojova. Basitshela zonke indaba lezi. I feel like saying one communist, one jab. One communist, 2 jabs where we need 2 jabs. One communist, 3 jabs where we need these things. Hambani siyojova, my comrades. All of us would not be where we are today if we did not get injections when we were still young. The polio as a disease is not gone, but it's no longer affecting us because sesgomile. We have had a jab. So let's go and have a jab as we unite to fight against vaccine imperialism and vaccine apartheid worldwide. That is the best way we can remember and honor Comrade Joe Slovo. You will excuse me if I spoke for long. Masikhuluma ngamaqhawe ethu umuntu usuka avuka umoya. Comrade Hope. But these are our heroes who laid the way for us. Let's not sell out Comrade Joe Slovo by trying to use our organizations for private personal accumulation instead of pursuing a better life. Put people amandla. Siyabonga. Sorry, I took a bit long.
Well done. Inside the party. Yes, we are going to, otherwise the unity of the party, the unity of the party is at Amandla! Away two! Down with apartheid Israel, down! Down with neoliberalism, down! Down with austerity measures, down! Forward to the better life for all the people, forward! Down with corruption, down! Down with tenderpreneurs, down! Thank you, comrades. Thank you to the General Secretary. You've heard the message. And central to that is unity of the party, unity of the ANC, unity of the alliance, so that we can be able to move forward in order to defend and take forward our NDR. Thank you very much, Comrade General Secretary, for this message on behalf of the Central Committee. Now, we are going to move into the next item. That item is going to be the wreath laying. And I'm going to quickly, because I can see the clouds are gathering again. I'm going to request the comrades in this order who are going to be getting the wreath for laying. The first one is going to be the Comrade General Secretary, who must move forward. Come forward, Mr. General Secretary, to take imbali yokuqala, to be followed by Comrade Joe Slovo.
come forward to also get the wreath. Doctor. Yes, also Zomala. That's okay. Before we. Yes. Can we request that the two of you give them space to move forward towards to go and lay the wreath? The two of you. Yes. Yes, you must move together. Thank you. Thank you, Comrade GS and Comrade Sean. Can we also request Comrade, the treasurer of the party, Comrade Joyce Muloy and Comrade Solima Paila, to get one wreath to lay it. Comrade Joyce, the two of you, you go and share that one and move together.
Yeah, you move together.
Whom are you calling?
No.
Comrade Soli, I'm in control. Can you move? There's only one side now. Thank you, comrades. Comrade, the second Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Chris Mataku, together with the ANC Rep, Comrade Papstow. Can you come together and share? Invite. Thank you. Thank you, comrades. Comrade Chris, cold. You must put something on. Comrades, can we request Comrades Lechisa Tenori and Comrade Franz Baleni, together with yes. Not pay. Not pay. In country, Lily too.